Hello, hello. That was a countdown. Good morning, good morning. It's a wonderful Saturday, another beautiful day to be alive. How are
Yes,
you, Akira?
indeed it
How are
is.
you?
Indeed it is. It's a beautiful day to be alive. It's a nice, bright, sunny spring day here in Houston, Texas. It's so bright outside. I had to close my windows because the sun reflection is just so amazingly great. It's
Wow.
not cold. Yeah, it's a cool morning, and it's there's not a cloud in the sky,
Thank
and
you for making it
I'm
live. Thank you for
sure
making it live. I, I
it's
just left it open. I
a
didn't want to
bright day.
describe my window or how it looked out there. So
It's really bright outside. Trust me, it's
that's
extremely,
wonderful.
extremely bright today. Extremely
That's
bright today.
wonderful.
As we
Yeah.
move into this
So,
month of April. How are you doing? How are you doing? How's the neck? How's everybody? How's the family?
oh
How was
man,
your week? Productive, unproductive, challenged?
no,
What? How was it? Everything was
the
okay?
week went fast because it was busy. It went really fast because it was busy, and that's good.
Hmm.
Business. That's why I tell people business is good. So you can't complain when you got busy things, and especially things that can bring productive returns to you. So
Yeah,
you
that's
feel good
exactly
about it.
right. Busy
Yeah.
is good. I like that one. Busy is good. Busy is good. Busy is good. So, what do we have on the agenda today? Are we just freewheeling today to get a lot of participation? Everyone who's listening, who's watching the show, please join the show today. Um, share the show on your different platforms. Today, I think what we'll do, let's just have an open mic today. Let's just talk about different things. Um, as it relates to business. I don't want to jump in and bring up the topic of tariffs, but just Liberian businesses, Liberian entrepreneurship, both at home and here, diaspora participation, what's happening on the ground, not politically, but just on the business side, different experiences from Liberian business people, investing in the country, those who went home, who traveled home. What was your experience as it relates to business? How do you see the economy? How do you see the opportunity of investing in home, but investing back in Liberia, participating in that economy? What vibes are you getting? What feelings are you getting? What's your level of optimism, degree of pessimism? How do you see it through your lens? Let's engage in that conversation today. So at least we're relaying live on Love FM across the city of Monrovia and into Lower Magidi as well, all the way into Bummy County. So if you're listening, feel free to call in. Rava will be putting the phone numbers up there. You can join us through WhatsApp. Just connect with us on WhatsApp and call in. Let's talk about your experiences, the challenges you're having on the ground as it relates to business, um, you know, investments, energy, electricity, telecommunications, whatever it is. Let's connect, let's communicate, let's have a open discussion about it today on the show so we can get some buy-in. What do you think, Ava?
I think that's a great idea, especially on the challenges side. And then we
Mhm.
can brainstorm on solutions. We hope people will not shy away from
Oh, of
calling
course, of
in.
course.
Sometimes people are hesitant to participate in these kind of environments, but we really think is it makes the conversation rich when we can get the actual people who are feeling the actual challenges their wins, especially positive when business people come and talk about certain things that went on and how they found solutions for it or how the success is going on because it sets the roadmap for other people to be able to follow and to learn. So,
Mhm.
just suggesting that business people should call in. I have to make sure I got your right number today because I don't want you to be like one of my friends who every time I can think he got different number, but
No,
so
the number you need to put up there is +1 346 546 4589.
I'm trying to find our list scrolling number at the bottom that will ask people to call. We got these banners. Okay, it's 346 five four
Five,
six
let's say, yeah, 4589.
546
4589. Yes,
4589.
sir. Yeah.
Right.
Good morning there, Dr. Pitt McKennedy. Today we're having an open line, so it will be great for you to call in. The numbers are on the screen. Let's talk about
You know what?
uh,
I think he should call in because Dr. Pitt McKenna just got a promotion. And I know we're talking about business, but it is sort of in a space and just
mhm.
his short travel from when he started that position to where he is now. I think will make for a little bit of interesting conversation. I know it's a little diversion, but it just shows when you stick with something and you put your all into it, sometimes
And
where it can benefit.
perseverance.
So
Perseverance, perseverance,
yes,
perseverance,
yes.
perseverance pays off, and I think that's one of that's another business or entrepreneurship quality, characteristic, whatever way you want to call it. That's so important for Liberians who are looking to engage in entrepreneurship and engage in business, commerce in our society, in our economy. Perseverance, persistence. You've got to stick with it. You have to stick with it. You have to be persistent with it, and you have to, you know, it's a long game. It's not a short game. It's not an instant gratification, microwave type of opportunity. It's something where you have to stick with it. It's like bringing forth a child. You don't just help to conceive a child. And yes, you have to do all of those things. I mean, take them to go through the breastfeeding, go through the late nights, go through the teething process, all of the ear infection, nose infection, running to the pediatrician, running to the doctor, staying up late at night, cradling and doing all of those things. And then you go through the toddler stage, learning how to walk, falling down, bumping the head, and panicking and all that kind of stuff. There, you go through changing the diapers. You go from newborn, you go to the toddler stage, then you go to pull up, and then potty training. This is all This is the nature. This is the nature of entrepreneurship or commercial activity business. Is an incremental growth process, learning process that all of us have to go through, and perseverance is the key. Perseverance is the key, and I think this is where a lot of Liberians are. We're challenged in that area. We want to plant today and harvest tomorrow. No, you have to clear. You have to clear the ground, plow the ground, put the seeds, wait for the rains, water it, and then you got to fight the animals because the animals come at night to dig up your seeds. So you have to protect it. Then you have to go through the weeding process, and then so until you persevere through this, you're not going to get to the end for the harvest time. Even when you harvest, you have to then process that which you've harvested and then get it over to market for people to buy and then start the process all over again. So I think this is something, that I think a lot of Liberian entrepreneurs, business people are challenged with. And I think this is something that, that, again, it's an open line. Let's talk about things. And I don't want Abba to call me a preacher, so I'll bounce it back over to him. Go ahead, Abba. What do you think?
So now I know that some of the things that my man can be sensitive about, so I know what how to get him now. No, but no, he's very right. He's very right. And perseverance is is not something everybody can do. It's not something everybody can say, I'll wait for that next second, that next hour, that next day, that next week, that next month. Because that insecurity of not knowing what's coming sometimes deters people from really sticking in, holding their ground and saying, I'm standing on this because I really believe this is the right thing to do. This is the right business to do. And, I will stick with it and maybe give myself some extra time for this adjustment, for this achievement, or for overcome this specific barrier. Because the
Hmm.
barriers are many, the challenges, and we've talked about some of those before. We'll talk about them, some of the challenges to small business or to business in general again today. Um, but we also may get, two people who may come on today. One of them is somebody who's really, really has been involved in the business sector in Liberia. He does a lot of empowerment for small businesses, training, um, discussions with different groups, trying to elevate them.
Hmm.
He's been in a lot of different business situations, so it will be a great addition to have him on, if not today, because he's busy as it is, but I'm trying to get him. Um, and then we'll also bring on, a young man who will be helping us, supporting us with some live correspondence or some field correspondence. So
Hmm.
those are a couple of things that we'll be able to hopefully add to the show at some point today. But for right now, we got to look at the different challenges and how people can get around them. One of the major challenges is access to capital, and I don't think we've really found a solution to that because a lot of people believe the government should be supportive in that respect. And I don't know if there's a government policy, and people can help me if there is somewhere about a path to capital where our people in business can have that access. Um, and there are multiple reasons maybe why, and we would definitely delve into some of them because I know I can got some strong thoughts on access to capital. But let's start with the fact that when it comes to system or data, where
Hmm.
you can really get information about any one individual, any one business, it's hard because somebody who you want money from, they need to have information. They may need collateral. They may need to have a way to hold you accountable. They want an outlet as to how they can get their money back. So, um, your own organizational structure, they need to understand it. So there are several things that are inhibitors to access to capital, and we have to find a way for our people to be able to overcome them. And that's one of the areas where these people who support businesses, who help with incubation, who help
Hmm.
with
Hmm.
acceleration of businesses, who help with scaling of businesses.
Hmm.
That's why they are so important. That's why you see in the US, the Small Business Administration is very critical in helping to prepare businesses, to get out there, to be able to be sustainable. Because what I say, a lot of businesses fail in the first year, and most fail in the first 5 years. It's not easy to have a business, to maintain it, to keep it going with
Yeah.
all the different requirements. So, if you want to comment on that, um,
Yeah, and if you go back, the point you just made, right? The point you just made about the Small Business Administration in the U.S. Let's just dissect that for a second. If you read up about this, the SBA, yeah, which is an entity in the U.S. by the government taxpayers. When you read about the SBA, one of the key statistics on there, it tells you that the largest number of businesses in the U.S. economy that drive the U.S. economy are not big businesses; it's small business.
Well, small business.
It's small business. Small business create more jobs. Small business creates more economic growth, more opportunities at that level. So if you look and think about how big the US economy, and you're saying, and you look at the statistics on the SBA, and it clearly tells you that as gigantic, as enormous as the US economy is, the driving force, the fuel that drive the US economy, this massive economy, is small business. Then, I mean, you hold your right hand connected to the Liberian economy. What do you think drives our economy? From Maryland County to Cape May County, from Montserrat County to Nimba and to Lofa. What do you think is the largest number of businesses in the country? It's not big businesses; it's small businesses. So if you make that correlation, if you make that connection, then you ask yourself the very point you just brought up. The second point is, if that is true, then why is it that our leadership, our government, past and present, have not zeroed? Let's find a way to create a small business administration funded by taxpayers' money that will then create a decentralize itself and exist in every county seat of government to support the local economy and driven by small businesses. I mean, and until we do that, or until we come to that level of understanding that the small business, I mean, you pick any county in Liberia, pick any county. Look, let's go to Montserrat, which is the largest segment of the Liberian economy. Montserrat. Look around the capital city. The largest percentage of businesses in Montserrat, in Monrovia, is what? The small business, the taxi drivers, the scratch car guys, the money changers, the pimping truck drivers, the people who are doing kobo or small restaurants. That's the foundation of that economy. The small cyber cafes, the printing places, all of those businesses, they hire anywhere between 2 to 5 persons. You go to red light, the essence, the foundation of red light as a commercial center is small business. So you ask yourself, if this is a true statistic of our economy, then why is it that the government and the leadership, past and present, have not zeroed in on this and say, you know what, this could be a winning solution for us, a winning strategy for us, a winning dimension for us, so that we can truly, uplift this, energize this, and this could be the catalyst for growth in this economy.
Seems like you're breaking up.
And your point is well taken. I mean, the SBA has an office in areas in the U.S. also benefit from the SBA as well. You look at it. I mean, it's the city where we live in Katy, Texas. Small businesses are everywhere. The restaurants, the Uber drivers, you know it. I mean, all across it, the Lyft drivers, the Uber drivers, they're all small businesses. So I think, that is something where That is something that we as a people in our country, our leadership really, really need to zero in on, because it is a winning strategy for economic growth. It is a winning strategy for job creation. It is a winning strategy for economic transformation. And it's a winning strategy to embrace the young people of this country. Because again, when you look at small business in Liberia or across Liberia, it's not the older people who are into small business. It's the young people. Ava. I mean, look at the statistics.
No,
I mean, you were just home. I mean, you go to Kakata, it's not the older people doing small business. It's the young people. You
it is
go
the
to
young
bunk,
people.
yeah, I mean, you go to it's the young people. So what better way to captivate the energy of the youth, the energy of the young people, to drive this economy, to push this economy, to elevate this economy, and ultimately bring economic transformation into the economy, than creating an entity, or if such an entity does exist in the Ministry of Commerce, why not empower that entity to, in a way, with a structure to effectively decentralize into all the county seats of government. Don't just exist in Monrovia. Monrovia is not Liberia, and I think that is so
And
important.
that's one of the key areas that will expand the country when we all recognize, yes, Monrovia may be the capital, maybe the central point, but it's not Liberia. And we need more about
Monrovia is
Liberia.
not
And,
Liberia. Yeah.
you know, having doing this area services business and being able to take area images of the country, you really see how very not densely populated our country is, right? You see all the forests, and you see the size of these, urban areas. And yeah, a lot of people moving there, but people moving there meaning that government must now see that migration pattern, that
Hmm.
um, where the youths are trying to go and what they want to do, and find a way to make it an easy thing for us or for the young people to get these opportunities, because
Hmm.
it's them. They really they are the engine. They are the people. So if you look at a person in business, and this is where when we talk about the small business administration, this
Hmm.
is the kind of thing that they can really help small businesses with, right? So how do you know what the value of your business is?
You need
Most of
data.
our small
You need
businesses,
data. You need data.
they don't have the information, they don't
Yep.
understand the valuation process to know how they can tell you, oh, my business is worth this, or my business is worth that.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
then when you come to just the company structure, now a lot of people are trying to register their business, right? But
Hmm.
then that registration with the Liberian,
Business, yeah,
revenue
the
authority
registered, yeah,
in terms
yeah,
of
LRA.
assisting with your taxes, right?
Hmm.
And just the process of taxation, sometimes they don't really understand it. I believe LRA has been trying to make it easier for small business people to pay taxes. They're trying to formalize a lot of different things, but it's still a challenge, and they still have to find a better way. So hopefully, one of these days, we can get Double Jala, who's the executive, the director
Hmm.
general of the LRA, to share with us some of the things they're doing for small businesses, which will be very important.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
again, how they monitor the business, how they keep the records, how funds that come in, how are they used? Are they really trying to put back stuff into the business, or they just think this money is money for them to use? Are they operating with a budget where they know exactly what the breakdown is for the month, for the quarter, for the year, how they're tracking against it? So those are things that our small businesses need to learn, and they got these different beyond the small business administration,
Hmm.
even cities, counties and
Hmm.
states, they have their own kind of small business kind of support system as well, because they understand that's where significant amount of taxes come from. That's how their people are being able to access services. So they want these businesses to exist. So that has to come into our mind, about this stuff about small business being the core of our economy. We have to really believe that, and we have to work to keep that core very stable, very functional, and people being able to earn their living through those kind of opportunities.
Yeah, and you bring up a very good point, right? You bring up a very good point, Ava, because at the end of the day, as I always talk about on the show, we look with our eyes, but we see with our minds. So as much, I mean, in as much as this does exist, the question is our is our present leadership seeing this? Are they aware of this? Are they cognizant of this? Because until you see and gain knowledge and then grow to understanding, that leads to the provocation. That's what provokes you to act and do something about what that which you've now seen and come to understand, and the power of it. Think about it, right? I was on LinkedIn yesterday. I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn every day, and somebody did a posting about Mittal Steel, talking about their phase two. Mittal is building two power plants, two HFO power plant of 21 megawatts in Buchanan. They've gotten a license from the LERC to be a self-producer of energy to meet their economic growth needs, their industrialization of their mining investment in the country. And they're building, I think it's a 71 or 72 megawatt HFO power plant up in Yekepa to energize, to industrialize the whole mining sector, the mining operation, take it to the next 2, 3, or 4 levels, to pelletize the ore, add value to it, and then load it on trains and haul it down to the port of Buchanan, and then put it on ships and sell it to their customers. But the posting was about how many new jobs, that whole phase two operation of Mittal is going to create 2,000 and jobs and stuff like that, direct jobs. But again, when as we talk about on this show, the question on that for me, the direct jobs, fine. Okay. Well, those direct jobs, would they only be set aside for Liberians? Because this is an investment that's supposed to benefit, the people of Liberia. Will Liberians be given first, second, and third choice opportunities in those employment positions? Or is Mittal going to come back and say, well, we didn't find any Liberian qualified for this, so we're bringing somebody from the US, from Europe, or from India for this position? That's one. Number two, we always talk about it on the show, the ripple effect for this. Because again, mining companies, just like in oil and gas, the producer is one person, but then the producer cannot do everything because you have so many subcontractors doing so many other things, right? So many other, they're providing so many other ancillary services to the mining company, to the mining sector. So as a result of this big power plant that will industrialize this mining operation, it will create a demand for so many different opportunities for subcontractors. And this is where I'm zeroing in on. Will these subcontractors, third-party operators, okay, will these subcontractors be Liberian companies? Or will they be European companies or Indian companies or companies from other countries, or Australian companies or South African companies? Because that's where the real money from Liberian iron ore is not the iron ore. No, it's all of the ancillary things, businesses, work that will be done around the mining sector. So as the energy comes to Buchanan and the energy comes to Yekepa, will Liberian businesses benefit from this directly and indirectly? That was my question on that posting. And because again, those companies, those businesses will not be big businesses. They will be small businesses. The people who would set up the Kobo shops, The guys who would do the mobile money changing, the guys who would do the pan riding, the keke riders, the taxi drivers, the truck riders. I mean, all of those are small businesses. But at the end of the day, will Liberian businesses, small, medium, and large, will they truly benefit from this phase two investment at Metal Steel up in Yekepa? Because at the end of the day, this is where the economic transformation and development and quality of life improvement for our country takes place. Over to you.
Yeah. And that's the holistic approach to development, where you're anticipating what is the impact of any action taken now, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So I don't know if we have weighed the cost benefit analysis of allowing these concessions to develop their own energy infrastructure, water infrastructure, etc. Because you know, how are they going to serve the community? And we have Dr. Kennedy in background, so very soon we'll bring it on.
Yeah.
But how do they serve the purposes of long-term employment, sustainability, and all of that for the
That's exactly
community?
right. Yeah.
It's a challenge. It's not easy, we know, and we want these people to be successful, but we also want development in our country as well. We want
To be
our
holistic, to be
people
holistic, to be holistic. It
holistic.
needs to be
Yes.
holistic.
So government has to think. They have to think deep. Thinking is not an easy thing. Some people assume
Oh, my friend. you just you just won the bingo game, my friend. You just got bingo. Bingo. That's why so
yeah,
many people don't like to do it, because thinking is not an easy task. It,
no,
it it burns calories. Thinking burns energy. That's why some
it takes
people go
work.
bald. That's why some
It takes
people go
work.
bald, because they spend all the time with all of the energy up here. It takes a
So
lot of work.
so so this a good time to bring in our innovation man, Dr. Kennedy. What's up, man?
Good
How you
morning,
doing?
gentlemen. Good morning.
Good
I
morning,
was
Doc.
scared
How
to
are you?
introduce you before I missed some things, because there's a lot of
So,
positives that you bring to the table. So I didn't
so,
want
so, you brought me at the right time. I was watching first when you were talking about the Small Business Association, and I was going to take that a little further when it came to the CIBR and the CIDR processes, which I would elaborate on. But then I was trying to get connected in, and then I lost you guys for a little bit, and I came in right when you guys were talking about thinking, the power of
Thinking,
thinking.
thinking. There you
So
go.
that's a British a portrait a British activist, Archibald MacLeish, and he was asked this question way back in the 20s or 30s or whatever, and they asked him, "What's the problem with men?" And back then he said the problem is men simply don't think.
There you
All
go.
right, and so
to.
as you guys are
But that
discussing that,
that can go beyond business to organize you.
So
but
it's
but
the
you get the
essence.
idea, you get the point,
It's
right?
the essence of
So,
Get
everything.
the
It's
point.
the essence. Yeah.
but before I go into anything, I just want to tell you guys thanks. You guys just don't understand the amount of impact that you are putting into our community and the opportunities you are bringing for people to leverage. People should leverage this platform so much more because what you guys said is sound judgment, sound judgment. You guys originate from sound judgment. You guys are very experienced and well successful in your individual path. So who else will absorb knowledge? I chime in all the time. I write notes down. I take things and I add it to my portfolio. So I encourage people to take some time and leverage what you guys are sharing. We pay
Thank you.
millions of dollars. We spend hundreds of dollars to get information from people just because of their statuses in the world. And we have it free right here with our own great minds, people that have gone down those paths. And we don't, it's something that said things that come to us for free, we kind of
We
take
don't
it for
respect
granted.
it. We don't
Yeah.
respect it.
Familiarity breeds
Yeah.
contempt. And that's why we
Content.
be.
Content. Yep.
But
Yep.
anyways, I
Yep.
wanted to say that before I get to the thinking process. So every time I hit a milestone in my life or I hit a certain thing that looked like a roadblock, the assessment first is with the self. It's a self-assessment. You evaluate yourself. Because no matter what happens outside, right? The opportunities, the job, the business environment. One thing you have at your disposal is 24 hours in a day. You do.
Yep.
If you're gonna make it for that day from the beginning to the end. So then your movement from one stage to another is predicated on how you allocate, how you appropriate those 24 hours. So
That's
you
exactly right.
essentially control your destiny, whether
There
you
you
know it
go.
or not. But
Hmm.
if we sit back and look for the environment to change and the government to change, I know Alva, sometimes you share some sentiments on that. We essentially stay at a stalemate and we are at the mercy of the people around us. I hear people
Hmm.
say, well, 2020, 2023, the election didn't go my way, so waiting for 29. So what happens between now and 29 for yourself? Are you getting better? How are you building your capacity? How are you using your 24 hours? So you
You're
waiting for
growing
6 years
older.
and putting the fate of your future in the hands of the voters again. So then 29, you fall short. What happens? You wait for what? 35 again? So we
Yeah,
got
there
to
you
get
go.
out of that mindset and start to move our lives forward internally. Because what happens inside of us is what's going to translate outside of us. And
That's
enough of
exactly
us
right.
are not doing things inside of us because guess what? We are not thinking. So I gave you this quick little piece, Alva. You're going to love this. So I know you guys were talking about my new role and everything, which I'm very thankful and humble for. We can talk about that. But 2 months ago, I needed to get to another milestone. So I took the blackboard, I took the mirror, looking in the mirror, and I said this.
Maybe there's a
He's on the
network
phone.
problem with Dr.
Yeah, yeah,
Kennedy.
yeah. He'll be back. He'll be back.
Um,
He's on the phone. Yeah.
but I mean, you can doubt the point he's making. That will remove him from the stage until he can come back. You can question what he's saying. The need for you as an individual to introspect. That means you look inside yourself.
Introspect.
It's typical
Yes,
for us to blame
yes.
ourselves. For things
There
that
he is.
happen.
There he is.
Yeah,
All right, you guys can hear me?
yeah, we can hear
We
you
can
now.
hear you now.
I can't hear anybody.
We can
We
hear
can hear
you.
you. We can hear each other, but you cannot hear us. Yeah. So that
Mhm.
ability to introspect, to look at yourself in a very critical manner and say, you know, this is what other people say about me. This is what other people say about me. How do I see myself? What am I doing that I'm making things happen? And sometimes, you can be right as an individual. Everybody else can be wrong.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, probably everybody else controlling everything.
That's
So
exactly right.
how do you manage that challenge, that dichotomy where you are on this side and the other people on that side? You got to be able to build that bridge. You got to be able to be flexible with yourself in terms of changing certain things and doing certain things. So introspection, really looking at yourself and finding a way forward, especially a positive way forward, is a challenge that a lot of us don't take, and we need to take it, especially in business. We need to take it.
And you know what okay, yeah, and
Can you
one of
hear
the
us
things,
now?
can you
Yeah, I
hear us
can hear
now?
you guys. I don't
There,
know what
there you go.
happened. I had to exit and come
It's
back
okay.
in.
Yeah.
It,
So
the,
you
the
can you can
technology is
you can
great
finish
when it
that
works.
particular point, and then we can start.
Go ahead, Ken. Go ahead. Go ahead, Doc. You were saying you look in the mirror. You
I
look
looked
in
in
the
the
mirror.
mirror and I
You
looked at
took
my
your
24
backboard.
hours and it's
Yep.
almost like an efficiency test on itself.
There you
So
go.
the one that's always vulnerable is the sleep time, the time that you have. So I shaved another hour off, right? And I said this, and this is true, I promise you. So I shaved another hour off. I don't want to embarrass myself, but I do wake up at 3 o'clock since for the last 2 months. And the first hour is that thinking hour because you'd be surprised what thinking can do for you, right? Because one idea can change your life.
Especially early, right? Early in the
Early
morning when you
Exactly.
morning.
wake up.
Yeah, that's when
No,
you are
no
fresh and everything.
noise, no noise, no disturbance, no
Yeah.
interaction.
I
Yeah.
turn the phone off, turn the lights off,
Yep.
everything completely dark. And you put your mind into deep thought, right?
Yep.
It's a challenge. I call it a battleground between comfort and character. Character wins every time because comfort wants you to go back to sleep. But here's what I put to the numbers, right? I took the numbers and I compare it with the guy that wakes up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So if he wakes up at 6 o'clock in the morning, I would have him beat by 3 hours. Whoever that person is, again, just something
That's it.
to for my own measurement too, right? And then, so if you just do it the 5 working days, that's 15 hours a week. And if you multiply it by 52 weeks in a year, that's 740 hours or so. and you divide it by 24 hours there, you got 32.5 days. If you're operating against a guy at the rate of 32 and you have a head start of 32 a month, really, there's no way you are going to get caught in any capacity, in anything you are doing, in your personal development, in your self development. There's no catching up, right? So this is how you evolve. But now it's not only that, you got to do more with what you think about in the other
Mhm.
activities that you
Mhm.
participate in. But that's a formula for success, and you measure to see if you're to measure your trajectory and see if you're on track or not. Simple little turns, I mean, twists like that. It don't have to be 3 hours early. 30 minutes early a day can change your life if you really put yourself to it. So I just want to share that a little bit, and it worked wonders for me. But over to you guys. I know you guys probably have some question about me, and
No, no,
let,
no.
let,
My takeaway on what you just mentioned, right? What you just laid out, what you just explained, what you just articulated. My takeaway is this: you developed. There was you had a driving force. You had energy to you know there was some you had a goal. Let me put it that way. You had a goal. You had an objective, and you said, "Look, how can I do more with what I currently have? Okay, how can I do more? How can I go to the next level? How can I rise? How can I transform? Because there's more in me, and I can produce more." Okay, so again, let's relate it to business. So let's relate it to the Liberian business person, the Liberian entrepreneur. Regardless of whatever challenging conditions you have or you exist in, that you presently find yourself, like Ava said earlier before you came on, he was talking about the challenges, and then we Liberians as business people, entrepreneurs, we have one deficiency, one challenge. We haven't yet developed the ability to build relationships. We talked about it last week, Ava. We haven't yet developed that ability, okay, to build relationships. Relationships are bridges. The more bridges you have, the more relationships you have, the more barriers you can transcend, the further you can go. The less bridges you have, you're not going anywhere. You will stay on that island called Gilligan's Island. You will stay there and you will pretend to succeed, but you're just going to be there and you're not going to move. You
And I,
need
I don't
to
want I don't want to take away from what you're saying, but
no
that
go go
point
go
is
ahead.
so
Go ahead.
important, right? Because when you look at a bridge versus you paying somebody for a lake canoe ride across that water, you're not sure the next time you come that canoe will be there. But when you build that bridge infrastructure, whether virtual or whether physical, it's there. You can always use it. You can go that
You
way and you
go.
can come
There
back.
you go. There you go.
So when you
Yes.
take that canoe that's very transactional, you're
Yes.
not sure. So we
You're not
got to
sure.
start thinking how we can have dependable bridges, dependable
Yes.
relationships
Yes.
that can, continue to help us in our journey, that we can continue to rely on, that we can come across, we can come back, we can go across. So, the bridge thing, the relationship thing, they're just so important. And we generally as Liberians, we have to just, as each other, start looking at each other different. Because most time the first thought, oh, that man
Yep.
are corn, man. That man won't screw me, that man won't crook me. So we got to give ourselves the benefit of the doubt. We got to want to build relationships and work with each other, which is very, very important. And hopefully we are seeing more of that happening. More Liberians are trying to see how they can do things together. And that's the only way we can be successful, if we build a critical mass of relationships, of collaboration, of cooperation.
I like to pull that thread a little bit, and
Mm.
I always call you the great integrator because there's not an area of expertise in Liberia that you don't have integrator. So
I
speak of
think
relationships. All right, but here's the thing. You know, uh, Even where I work in my space, all right, for the government, when I was active duty about what 15, 20 years ago, a lot of things were run in silos. Of functional stovepipes, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And it's important and interesting and encouraging to see how we have evolved to these. enterprise-wide solutions that encompass
Mhm.
what, especially in the innovation space. We want our academia researchers to be part of our mission, right? We invite them, right? Those relationships matter. Also, our professionals on the civilian side, our
Mhm.
counterpart, our industry experts, guess what? We want them into that system as well. So guess what? With the academia research at one arm, right? And you have the industry experts, and then you have we the government who used to be the hoarders of so much information. And again, to speaking to the functional stovepipe, now we can arrive at enterprise-wide solutions collectively faster. Employment increases, technology advances, and we stay above, ahead of our adversaries. So you couldn't hit home the importance of relationships any more than what we see. It's practical. You guys are in Liberia. When speaking about what we do with sweat equity, both Alkina and Isaac have really been key components to what I do with my program. Even though you guys may not be on the forefront, but you guys have supported me. Ava, you were there in December, from a relationship standpoint and from a personal standpoint, participating with the young people. And then I came into one of the Christmas events for the children. All those
Mhm.
things are based, predicated on relationships. When people see the people
Relationships. That's
around you
exactly right.
supporting you,
Yeah.
they have to really be inclined to probably follow your lead, your direction, and say, well, this guy is connected to people, and that's what's important. But keeping the true genuineness of those relationships are important as well. Not just building them, but making sure those relationships, because you remember the bridge, right? Talk about the bridge.
Yep.
After you put that bridge there, you got to sustain that bridge, or else it's going to
That's
fall
exactly
anyway.
right.
So we
Maintenance.
got to
Maintenance.
sustain it, we got to feed it, yeah. So the
And
relationship
so
need
that
to be
something coming
nourished.
across the bridge can make accident across the bridge to
So yeah,
And
over to
again,
you guys. Over to you guys.
yeah,
Relationship is
yeah. No, I
important.
mean, yeah, even even in my career, okay, relationships are key. Relationships are key, and I think what I use relationships every day, okay, as a business person. Let's look at it from this perspective in Liberia, where I think most Liberian business people, entrepreneurs, don't understand. When you're coming into Liberia to do business, right, to enter the market, remember your entry into the market is predicated on one thing. You're going to try to displace someone. You remember that game we played called musical chairs at the Christmas party? Every time the music stopped, there's one less chair, right? So you got 10 people going around the table going around the chairs, but there are only 9 chairs. And when the music stopped, one person gonna have to leave the game
Yeah.
because yeah. So when you enter a market, the purpose for you entering that market is to what? Is to displace someone else. You're going to be going after someone's business. That's just the reality. And that person is not going to sit there and allow you to infringe on his business. That's just the nature of entrepreneurship.
If he's sleeping till 6 o'clock and you waking up at 3 o'clock, you're gonna displace him
That's
because your
exactly
mind will
right.
be ahead three
That's
hours. So
exactly
you'll find
right.
creative means to displace him.
There, now you got it. So that's where your relationships come in. You want to build relationships so that those relationships as bridges, they will feed you the market intelligence. And relationships sometimes they're worth more than so-called money
Yeah,
because
but I got a
they're
question. I got to beg this
go,
question.
go ahead.
There's I think as you allude to relationships,
Mhm.
right? Let's talk about what qualifies relationships. I think that's important
this.
because people, again, just from looking outside of Liberia in the business setting, and what
Mhm.
I'm hearing, what I've been listening to, there's a lot of relationships that's there, but they're being used for individual gains. In other words, I bring you into the space, but you pocket me. Whatever it is that I use from an influential standpoint, you give me money compensation for that. So is that relationship really valuable to the entity, to the country? Those types of things, are they?
So
No, go
they're
ahead.
not okay. So you bring up a very good point, right? So, in what you do as a business person, as an investor, as a business person, an entrepreneur, a philanthropist, one of the most important things in business is what we, how do we call it, Ava? Due diligence. Due diligence. Due diligence is your responsibility because at the end of the day, your time, right? You talk about time. Your time is worth something.
Yeah.
And I've come to learn as a business person, as an entrepreneur, as a business development specialist in my career, that this day, April 12th, 2025, when the sun rises and the sun sets, we're never going to see this day again in our lives. So time is the real currency. Time is the real currency. Don't be fooled that your LD or your USD is your currency. No, 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 no. No. That's just an instrument to help you to do work.
True.
Your real currency is your time.
Yeah.
And time can manifest itself depending on how you apply it and how you use it.
Yeah.
So due diligence is a major part of building relationship. That's why you
Yeah.
do it in an incremental way.
Yeah.
You do it in
and
an
and that's what
incremental way.
right,
Yeah.
Go ahead,
and
Ava.
that's why the point Pittman raised is very critical about how
Mhm.
you build out. Like you say, incremental. You got to grow together with that personal
There you
relationship.
there you
You
go.
know,
There you go.
it's very
Yes.
foundational. You can't avoid it because you got to build some level of trust. You got to have integrity in the relationship.
No,
You got
not
to be
trust, Ava.
reliable. If
Not trust, Ava. Ava, you say you don't like trust.
No,
Confidence.
I don't like that word trust because it's blind, but you got to build it. You know, you
Yeah,
still got to
yeah.
build it.
Mhm.
And I got a degree of confidence around that.
Yeah.
But what I'm
Mhm.
saying is that reliability, that ability for somebody to rely on you, that when
Yes,
you
yes,
say, my man, I will be at that place at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, or you will have the goods there, is very important. You know, the
yes,
person
yes.
know that you can show up. The person know that you meet your deadline. The person know that if you promise them, you will deliver. And if people can have that from you, then sometimes that bridge is kind of shaky.
It's
That
shaky.
Yes,
bridge, they're not sure where you stand. They're not sure if
that's
that in the
exactly right.
middle. That I don't know if some Liberian people know, but there are some bridges that are built in a way for the ship to pass or the hard tall
Mhm,
boat. So
mhm.
they can raise the bridges, the
Yep.
drawbridges, they can
The
raise them
drawbridge.
up
Yep.
and go. So that person don't know if the time they coming, you coming put toll booth there to restrict them, or you can draw the bridge up where they can't even pass over. So you got to be present in a relationship.
Yes,
Sometimes
that's
you got
exactly
to
right.
nurture it. Sometimes you
You
got
got
to
to
build
nurture it.
it. And then your mind cannot be so suspect that you lose
Mhm.
your emotional intelligence in terms of being able to understand that other person motivation, the other person need. Because when you don't have that emotional intelligence, you just focusing only on yourself. When you don't have any empathy, any feeling, for the other people trying to understand how they're going, it's just about you. You see, like Pitmore just saying, I was there in Liberia. I attended his events. Sometimes
Mhm.
relationships need presence, it needs
That's exactly
participation,
right.
it needs
Exactly.
follow up. You got to
Mhm.
stay active. You got to keep your network relevant. So even though sometimes it's physical in presence, but I one telephone call once in a while, or that, oh my man, what's up? You don't, like some people, they feel every time they talk to somebody, they got to ask for something. No, you don't have to
Yes.
always ask for something. Just like, oh, what's up, man? What's the deal? Okay, I hope you and your family doing well. Wonderful. So, folks, it's about building relationships and having strong
Relationships.
relationships and, enduring. Many
Yes.
of my friends today, our relationship, 15 years,
Mhm.
you know, easily.
But
I'm 63.
Ava, you're always to add to that. I always tell our young people in my development arenas, you're always on stage. Every one of us. Every day we wake up, we
We're on
have an
stage.
audience that's watching,
Yes. Yep.
whether we
That's
know it or
exactly right.
not. And when we open our mouths, we tell the world who we are and what we are
Oh,
about.
yes. That's
So
exactly right.
all these things, when you understand these functional criticalities of your daily operation, right? Then you have to position yourself. And look, in Liberia, both of you guys were there in December, and
Mhm.
we didn't spend too much time together. I think we met twice. But
Yeah.
as if I took and I spent some significant amount of time as a big brother. I always look up to him as a big brother, like a mentor. But something he did that's important, and I would tell you, it's predicated on relationship and whether it's trust or not, trust or confidence. That man was leaving Liberia, and my vehicle was in the shop, and he left his vehicle with me in Liberia for 2 weeks, and he didn't call me to say, "Oh, how are things, how everything." He told me what to do when I was leaving, and it may be a small token to some, but it speaks volumes to me because the average person won't do that. The average person won't do that. But it also tells me that so much lessons in there. What have you demonstrated over time to show that this person that they will have confidence in you to do that? You know what I mean? Not only that, he offered me his house and everything, to say, hey, come on, stay to the house, do whatever. So
But
again, I appreciated that. I'm always indebted to that gesture because of the kind of person you are. But when we talk about these relationships, codifying and keeping them for sustainment, all right, it's important. It's things like that. And so many times I call on to him for little things. I'll be like, hey, give me this idea on this. Give me an idea on this. Who can I talk to about this? Not a single day has there been some type of, hey, I will connect you here and you got to give me this or like, that type of stuff. It's just genuine. And, I feel privileged to have you guys as, older brothers, people that can help guide me. And I think more Liberians should do that instead of, like you said, looking at people in a negative way to scrutinize them. Just try to see what the wealthiest place on our earth. You guys have heard that is the graveyard. Where thoughts that have not been manifested lies, where
Mhm.
They
where
live
where
right
where where,
there.
where, where talent is just rested because we refuse two things. We refuse to develop and then we refuse to request. All right.
Yeah.
I don't care if you like the man or not. If the man is that smart, it's okay. Go and seek what you need. That's a
Yeah,
humility that will make you better. Seek what you need.
yeah. And Pittman, the thing is this, right? You mentioned the extension of Ava to you when he was leaving the car, the apartment, right? Okay. So I equate that to the strength of the bridge. There's
Yeah,
some bridge you can only the pen can't ride across it.
that's
It's
right.
only for foot traffic. There are some bridges the pen can go, but the keke can't go because of the weight. There are some bridges the people can walk across, the pen can go, and the keke can go, but the taxi can't go. So the question now is, how strong is your bridge? How strong is your bridge? So how strong is that relationship? How
Yeah,
deep does it go? How deep and how wide, how strong is the foundation of that relationship? Because the wider, the deeper, the stronger it is. Bigger things can go across. And Ava's, key word, confidence. The confidence he had in you allowed him to say, hey man, here are the keys to the car, the keys to the apartment, do A, B, C, and D. He had confidence that you will what? You will execute one and you will treat it what? As your own. You get my point.
Eh,
And
yeah,
Right.
and when
And
you were departing, you will follow up and say, "Hey, Ava, I took care of A, B, C, and D. I made sure I paid one. Somebody came and cleaned up the place to make sure the place is clean. I put everything back. Blah blah blah. Yes, and that's where we have to get to. And when we look at Liberia from the business perspective, 1 minute, Ava, before you jump in, when you relate it to the business perspective, look at all of the different groups, right, or nationalities, right, that are succeeding in the Liberian business environment. Relationships. Those guys have strong relationships. They exchange data. They exchange information. They have their meetings. They come together. They strategize. And what do? They think and they grow rich. That's it.
don't be hitting her with a book now. We're gonna come ready next time. We're
I'm
gonna
just
come
saying.
ready next
I'm
time.
just
Okay, okay. Don't be coming hitting her with a little. Let me look. Let
They
me look. Okay,
think
so
and they
so
yeah.
grow rich at our expense, because we are spending, we're majoring in all the minors and we're minoring in all the majors. Over to you, Ava. Over to you.
yeah, so what Pittman just said just brought to mind another younger brother. I won't call his name, but right.
Yeah.
But I didn't know he had a place in Mount Barkley, right? And I didn't know that it was not far from our farm in Yamantown. And for some
Mhm.
things I want to do, we're just on the phone in like when I was in
Mhm.
Liberia. and he was like, "Oh, where you going, Kakata? You gotta go Yamata." And I was talking about the challenges of trying to leave in the morning with the traffic. He said, "Oh,
With
well, you
traffic.
can go to my place right in Mount Barclay, right?" So I go to his place in Mount Barclay with my wife. My wife was there at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and they were there for a couple of days at his place.
Mm-hmm.
Yamatown was right at 15 minutes away. I could drive. It was not against traffic. It was easy. Then I had to go to BWI, to the project we did there, and then I had to go
Mm-hmm.
assess a location near Konola. So the convenience of that, just having that little discussion with someone and say, "Oh, my man, you have my house there," and
There
then
you
when I
go.
got to his house, there's a car in the garage, a pickup, an F-150 that not functioning. So I said, "My man, what's wrong with the car?" I managed to get one of my mechanic again to come look at the car. Today, the main car is fixed and painted correctly. So it's about relationships and having people
The
around you. Not everybody
relationship.
can do
There
it. We
you go.
understand,
Yep.
but not everybody can do it. But when you have some of those strong bonds that he talked about, where any kind of car, any kind of vehicle can move over it, you have a great relationship. So that part of being able to sustain
Yes.
having these strong relationships with people in business and everything like that that can keep you going. So, that's a wonderful point. Resilience is not just only you. It's all about the structure,
Yeah.
the ecosystem that you have built around you, that if you fall in, they can pick
Yes.
you
There
up.
you go. Key
And then
word.
as you
Yes.
moving up, you bring them
Yes.
up with you. So sometimes we may have
That's
problems
exactly.
with our mentors, with our mentees. We have issues. But one thing that can always help us is to keep the door open, to keep communications open,
Yes.
and not just say like the typical, "Oh, I can deal with it, man. Oh, I can do business with it, man. Oh, I can talk to them, man." We're quick to say can't. We should move that can, being able to
Yeah.
do things is a more effective means of communication. But folks, we have been talking here for an hour now. I think other people should feel free to call. You can call me on
Yes.
WhatsApp
Yes.
Let
Yes.
me let me
Please.
301.
take a let me
Please.
take one more point, then I can.
Go
I
ahead.
probably
Go
gotta go
ahead. Go
answer
ahead.
some.
Okay.
And I'll be remiss if I didn't talk about we talk about business and how business can grow and expand, and we can sit here every day and talk about it. But the more, I think the most important piece of that is developing our young people with that mindset. That's a responsibility that we cannot take lightly, because we can have the entire infrastructure set up if the mindset is not there. So what I mean by that is our influences and impact on the people that come after us. So again, I would take that time. I got a team. You guys know I have a team
Mhm.
of 5 individuals. They're all at the university level that runs the sweat equity operation in Liberia. And what do I mean by that? They are assessing the kids' schools, balancing the budget for the tuition, making sure that all the kids are in classes, making sure they're performing well, engaging with their parents. I got a guy in charge of it, Michael and his team. and
Mhm.
and but while they're doing that, my responsibility to them, right, is to ensure that they understand, first of
And
all, what they're doing, why they're doing it, and then the mindset to not only shift to government jobs, but how they can
mhm,
expand and
mhm,
their
mhm, mhm.
capacity and build it, thinking entrepreneurship first. All right, so that way, when our relationship has grown to where they're going to fly off on their own, they are being equipped with those necessary tools, the knowledge. And Alva, you're gonna love this. And this just happened probably the last couple of days. I went to renew my PMI thing. Right, I'm going to
All right.
Rwanda for PMI Global Africa Series. I think it's the
Oh,
first one in
you
Africa.
making that trip? I'm thinking about
Um,
you.
exactly. So I told Michael. Michael is in the process of joining PMI right now, with the goal of making him a PMP by next year. That's development right
Okay.
there.
We know
That's development right there.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you see that's really important. I mean, if 1 year ago you had asked Michael what is project management or what is the project management institute, he will have
Yeah,
no idea about that.
yeah,
But just the idea that you're exposing him, that you're trying to incentivize him to move forward. And that's what folks in general, all these young people that we interact
Mhm,
with, who
mhm.
got to be able to elevate their standards,
That's
whether
exactly
through
right.
professionalism, whether through education, or whether through the advice we give them. It has to be an essence of what we do with them. You can't do it with everybody because individually we don't have those resources. but the
Yeah.
one or two that we see that got that it factor, that
Yeah.
want to be able to accelerate, excel, and move forward, we have to be able to help them. So, it's very important. Um, he can join
The
the
local
chapter
chapter.
now,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
local chapter, the local PMI chapter. We have a local chapter in Liberia. The guys are very, very, there's a lot of talent in Liberia. We just have
Yeah.
not been able to bring it together. We just have not been able to work together and see the positive in each other to the extent that we are such a formidable force. We can go against anybody else. I mean, a lot of Liberians all over the world go anywhere and they can excel. We have that ability just naturally, probably because the struggle we have been in, or just how we grew up. A lot of people can do that easily. So we
Yeah.
must give ourselves that credit, and we must start to see in each other the opportunities that collaboration bring, cooperation bring, building our own ecosystem and saying we're Liberianizing this thing, we work together, we resolve our issues, our differences, but we'll be a powerful force to make things happen. So
We
But
must stop. We must stop looking at people, these young people, as errand boys and errand girls, and drivers and house boys and house girls, and looking at them as opportunities for us to develop them. I tell you, we
yes,
will get so much more out of ourselves by doing that. Not only them, because they're going to take that baton and they're going to extend it. It's that mindset that we, the ones that in this era, have to stop. And too many of us do that. Oh, he a driver and he limited to a driver. 10 years from now, he's still a driver. You haven't
right,
done a single thing to expand his capacity. So
exactly.
I
You
will
got to
start talking
ask
there. I
your
know I
people.
got the stake,
no,
but that's
no,
one
no,
thing.
no, no, no. The thing, the point is this, right? Again, in this Think and Grow Rich, right? When you either you read the book or you listen to the audio on YouTube. For those who are listening, you want to listen to it. Just go to YouTube and put in Napoleon Hill Think and Grow Rich. You will listen to the whole thing there for free. He talks about what? The mastermind. The
Yeah.
mastermind is a collection of individuals who come together for what? Definiteness of purpose. It doesn't talk about the fact that you will not disagree. No, disagreement is a very, very healthy thing depending on the perspective you take towards disagreement. Because when you're trying to move, okay, you're trying to get a car or trying to build a bridge, and you bring people together, assemble people together for that definiteness of purpose. They're going to be differing perspectives because everybody doesn't come from the same place. Everybody didn't have the same life experiences to become who and what they are today. So you need to come into this with that understanding that what we first must disagree so that everybody understands where the next person stands. And then we find within that disagreement what is common, where the common threads. You get my point, okay? If out of 10 items we disagree on 6 but we agree on 4, then why are we still standing here? Let's move on the 4 and then circle back and focus on the 6. Maybe while the 4 are progressing, we may now figure out, oh, number 5, we agree, let's move forward on it. But again, the perspective for us Liberians, especially in the business sector, the commercial sector, the entrepreneur sector, we see disagreement as a hindrance, whereby the other guys, you know, the other nationals in our economy, right, where we're pumping over $800 million worth of a remittance. Our national budget is over 800 million, another 1 or 2 billion from the private sector. These guys are eating our cheese. They're eating our food. This is our food, but because we can't come together and strategize, have a definiteness of purpose, we personalize everything. We personalize everything. What does my personal feeling towards Pittman have to do with Pittman and I working together to take business? It's got
Yeah.
nothing to do with it.
doesn't.
It's got absolutely nothing to do with it. We're focused. We have a strategy. We have a plan. We have a strategy to drive that plan, to execute that plan. Hey, I'm not a project manager, but I'm a business development specialist. Hey, you know what, Pittman, let's get Ava. He's the PMP guy. Let's get him in here. Let's get him in here.
Yep.
Maybe there are some things that we can see that we cannot see that Ava will be able to see because he's at that level, he's at that perspective.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I can motivate people at one level. Pittman, you can energize people. You can tell. So, and the thing, before I jump off, before opening the phone line, Pittman, you just made a very important point. When we build these relationships and engage these young people, we need to be hard on ourselves, not to exploit them, to let them remain where we met them.
Yep.
You get my point? We cannot say that, okay, we met this guy as a driver. I cannot, when I disengage from this guy over the 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks that I've been in Liberia, I always tell people, when I come back here, I don't want to see you at the same place. I don't want your mind to be at this same level because so a man thinketh, so is he. The
Yeah.
level of your thinking is, like you said earlier, you said it earlier when you came on. The level of your thinking, where your mind is what manifests physically to be where you physically are. You change your thinking, and all of a sudden you
Your
see yourself
life
elevated.
changes.
Everything changes.
Your life changes.
And,
It's a,
and that is our role. That is our role. We who are from the diaspora, we engage with our friends, our loved ones, our business partners, our connections in Liberia. We must be the transformational instrument or device in the lives of these people.
but we don't
Because
have that. We don't have that, and we got to build that. And here's why we don't have that. Because our people, right? They see money as value. That's what they look at. They equate money to everything successful, everything valuable. So guess what happens in the lack of money? When
because
the lack of money is there, guess what? When there's no money, they have nothing. That's why you see they crumble. But you see, guys like you, and I've said that all three of us here, you can take that man right next to you and put him somewhere in the world right now, and he's gonna succeed because his thought process is different. He got the value. What? It's built inside. It's built inside. Your value proposition is inside of you. And
that's
guess
it.
what? Value is what's going to attract. I'm not sure
Yes.
if you covered that in that thing and
Yeah.
grow rich,
Oh, yeah.
but
Yeah.
value is a magnet. So
It's a
value,
magnet.
it will attract money. It's not the
You
other
know,
way around. You
my, my,
know,
my, my,
so
my wife and I, we talk about it all the time. We talk about it all the time. And I always tell her, look, just your mindset alone, that transformative mindset, that
yeah,
mindset to elevate, that mindset to grow, that mindset
yeah,
to transform,
yeah,
that that mindset becomes a powerful magnet. It
yes.
attracts people who are looking for that.
And we have that. We have that. You know,
And it is so sad that our Liberian community, our Liberian society has been denigrated, downgraded to the level where everything is about this substance, this material thing called money.
yeah,
And the reality is, I can bring more wealth, okay, more value just from the mindset.
yeah.
The
You create
mindset.
value and money can stay out of the way. Like all this stuff we share could be charged, could be given at a cost. Like if I call Alva and say, hey, I want you to talk to me about this. He could say, look, set up a time on my calendar. It's a 30-minute time and I'll charge you $500. And we do live like that in these parts of the world. But in our country, in our community, we don't see that as value. We don't see that. So we take the person, we look down on them, and we undervalue, we auction the gift, the talents, and the abilities. Whereas what they carry inside is so valuable
Yeah,
that you
so
can't
yeah,
buy
it's
something
priceless.
for
It's
money.
priceless.
You know,
It's
you know.
priceless.
So
It's
so I tell my
priceless.
people at work, same to on my job. I ain't trying to be funny, but you can't fire me. Because what makes me great is resides inside. You just
Yeah.
gave me from one entity to another eventually. That's it. But because you can't fire the pet. You can't fire. They can't fire what you know. They can fire your habits. If you got great work ethic, who can fire that? Nobody can fire that. Your
Well,
mindset carries everything.
the thing is this, right? In the sales world, they will always tell you if when a good sales guy leaves one entity to go to another, everybody goes after him. You know why? Because nobody wants that guy shooting at them. Everybody wants that guy on their team.
On their team.
Everybody wants that guy on their team because he's an asset. He's an asset. He has a history of building business, identifying opportunities and bringing value. So I think that's where we as Liberians, in the U.S., in Liberia, we need to build a bridge. We need to connect. We need to exchange information, exchange data, as Alba talked about, and transform our country, transform our people, and be the transformational instrument or device in their lives. We have to do this because if we don't do it, we cannot expect outsiders to come in and do it. The outsider will not do it for us. Why? Because the lack of our transformation is what they are exploiting. You see,
That's right.
your weakness, right? If you don't understand something, let's just say, for example, if you Pittman, you had a meeting, somebody call you, want to have a meeting next week Wednesday, and there are a couple of things they want to discuss, and you don't have the knowledge, the understanding, the level of enlightenment to come into that meeting with a level of strength. You got two options. You either go into that meeting at a level of ignorance and get exploited, taken advantage of, or you say, look, you know what? Hey, Bob, can I push this meeting to Friday because I have something that came up unexpectedly? Put an excuse, put a reason in there. And then when the guy says, okay, you know what? I will send me the new date. Then what do? Once that guy accepts that date, you then go back in reverse. You say, my man, Ava, I got a meeting for this. I need you to please help me on A, B, and C. Hey, Al, I need your help on this. I need this knowledge, this understanding. You go to Google, you read up, you prepare yourself so that when you get to the meeting, you even read up about who you're going to be meeting. You go
Yeah.
to LinkedIn, you put the guy's name and contact in there. You read up where he worked before, the background he had before, who he is, the who, the what, the when, the where, the why, the how, who's coming to this meeting. So that when you get to the meeting, you're prepared. You will not be exploited or taken advantage of. Because like I always tell people, nobody gets cheated in a business deal. You get what you negotiate. That's it.
No, that's a fact. That's a fact.
Nobody
Because
gets cheated.
once you put your signature on it, I mean, you agree to it. You can't come
That's
back
it.
now and with sour grape and saying,
You
X,
want to
Y,
change the
Z. No,
rule,
you
yeah. You want to
agree.
change the rules and move the goalposts back. You give the man the rail, then you say, well, because somebody else not can, the man will got to go back. No, man, the game, no. We played the match. I won the game 2-0. You gave me the trophy. Now you coming back and say, would you play different game? No, my man, no. It doesn't work like that. You got to play the mountains. Yeah, go get in the other mountains, you know. But Abba, let's open up the phone lines and let's get some
Right.
calls in here. Let's
So
get some calls in
Michael
here.
was just calling. Michael, you listening? Call again.
So the phone numbers are up there. Ava's number is +130-1655-5984, and my number is +1-346-546-4589. So if you're in the U.S., you can call. If you're in Liberia, you're listening on Love FM. You can put that number in your WhatsApp, add it, and you can call in, and we'll take the call here and put you on. Okay, I think I got a call coming in here, guys. I got one call coming in here. So I'm going to take this call. 1 minute. Hello, good afternoon. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, you want to call? You calling in on the show?
Yeah.
Okay, 1 minute, please. Give me 1 second here. Okay, what's your name and where are you calling from? Please, you're on the show. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Desmond Finley. I'm calling from Australia. It's 2 in the morning here, I think.
Hey, Desmond Finley,
Um,
calling from Australia. How are you?
I'm amazing. This is just great. Cool guys. You guys are having a great talk. I know I personally is a cool people that I've known him for years. Some of the things you guys talked about, I wanted to highlight you. You've spoken on other communities and how they operate, right?
Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
Unfortunately for me, And Paris, he was born in Liberia in 1950. Paris came all the way from Lebanon around before he was born in Liberia, in McKenna, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
So,
Go ahead. Go ahead. Are you there? Can you go
Mr.
ahead?
Finlay, go ahead.
Finley,
If
go
the
ahead.
man is down in Australia, so maybe
Okay.
he
Well,
got challenges. Let him call you back. I got another call
okay.
on the line.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
Caller,
over
please
your
go
call.
ahead, introduce yourself. And
hey, gentlemen, how you doing? This is
hi, Zango.
Hey, Zanga, good morning.
Look, man, I'm listening to you guys this morning. It's been a long time, bro. I'm
Hey, what's
listening to
up?
you guys this morning. You guys have always been encouraging to the Liberian community in the U.S. and in Liberia. I first want to give you guys your flowers this morning for a job well done. I myself talk quite a bit, and so I know. Yeah, so Pittman, nice to see you again. Keep watching your activities when you go to Liberia. And my boy Bob. But anyway, look, you guys saying the right thing this morning. It's all about the mind. It's all in how you perceive yourself. Perception is reality. And for a lot of, I'll include myself in this since I'm from that group, a lot of us Liberians have a tendency of looking down on ourselves, on our possibilities, our abilities to succeed, to accomplish, and this comes from a deep place, from a history, from our parents and what have you. But I'm appreciative of the things you guys are doing. I hope a lot of Liberians are listening, digesting, and taking notes on the information you guys are giving, because as Pittman said, a lot of this information is valuable and people can make a lot of money off it. So I just want to give you guys your flowers again and encourage the community to listen, to learn, and hopefully we can collectively move our families, ourselves, and our country forward. Thank you guys.
Wonderful. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
that. We
Thank you,
appreciate you.
All right, you take care of yourself.
All
Thank you,
right.
Robert. Talk to you soon, brother.
So
Thank you,
yes, I mean
Azango.
for
Thank you for the
me,
contribution. Yeah.
it's something that we have to do. It's something I strongly believe in. I believe in Liberia. I believe in Liberians, and we got to keep trying to build a larger collective. We got to make it an effort. We got to make it a part of what we do to encourage other people, to build them up, to bring them up. Like I said, you can't help everybody. You can't do, and you got to be able to say no to people sometimes. You got to be able to be honest with people. Look, my man, I'm there to deal, or I got some other responsibility. I got some other expenses. But when you can make the effort to help, show people you care, smiling, having a conversation, it doesn't take anything away from you. I always say all the time, especially to our Liberian officials, they have weaponized communications. Sometimes it's easier for you to talk to that person at one time and say, "Look, I can't do it," or the typical habit in Liberia is if they call you one time, you don't answer, they'll call you 50 times. Now this is Michael, so let me just answer. Yes, caller, hello. Please introduce yourself and let us know what you calling about.
Good afternoon to you people, and my name is Michael Arnold.
Good
Hi,
afternoon,
Michael.
Michael.
Yeah, go ahead. Share your thought.
I'm so excited by all of the educative discussions you people have shared on the platform this afternoon. Liberia.
You there?
The people Kennedy, I want to appreciate the people Kennedy for the kind of humanitarian services he providing for young kids in Liberia. And I want to also appreciate Mr. Alfred Chukba, a good friend to Dr. Pema, and Mr. Akini, a good friend to Mr. Dr. Pema Kennedy too as well. And I think all of you ideologies the afternoon resonate uh, with the way to which Liberians might need to be upgraded, the way in which the young person, whatever one is thinking of doing. And it looks so amazing the afternoon. And then through the discussion, I think I was able to have gained another more advanced knowledge, or a very, very, very valuable knowledge that I think I can step.
Yeah, the network is a little bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the like Orange have the working on their internet included.
Yeah.
So basically, Canada for me, I call it the paragon. I sometimes call it the game changer, because it's kind of pricing. Like if you are with him, he wants you to be just who he is, in a sense that he wants you to be take character. He wants you to be confident. He wants you to be very available, and he wants you to change from our own mentality to a one that is real, that is globally or conventionally accepted. I'm talking about legal means. And just a few days ago, he called me and said, Michael, the PMI, you want to be a part of PMI? I said, yeah, that. He said, okay, go through the process and hit me up. For next year, you're going to be a full member of PMI, which is about, I just sat for a while. I said, wow. I said that the people not just thinking about just saying, Michael, I want you to do this for me. But he's trying to, on a daily basis, he's transforming my startups, he's transforming my way of thinking, and he providing me that kind of transformative guidance. So I just want to be very grateful to every one of you, because one man does it not only alone, because when all of you people come together, share.
We got you. Thank you, Mike.
It changes the status quo. I want to say thank you. And I've been watching the show, and I'm so much happy of this show, and I'll be a member of the show in a sense. I'll be continuing followers of this show. Thank you very much.
So thank you, Michael.
Part of you people.
We appreciate the call.
And you see that the point that Michael talked about there is the point I talked about earlier. When we meet people, when we engage with people, we have to understand the level at which we're meeting those people. You know, this is almost like standing up. You're upstairs and you're reaching downstairs to lift somebody from there. The point should not be that you're trying to press the person down, but rather you are lifting the person up. But if you lift the person up too fast and the person's mind is not transformed, then what happens is, even though you've lifted the person up, the person's mind would drive them right back to where they came from. So the transformation has to be in the mind, because the mind is the essence of the person. The real person isn't what you see. The real person is the mind. That's why you see them in the condition that they are. So the greatest thing you can ever invest in a person, through the means of, like we talked about last week, of communications, talking to people, encouraging them, building them up, teaching them. Say, look, my man, I'm going to send you a couple of links and a couple of YouTube videos. Watch them, and I'll call you next week and we'll talk about them. And then I'll send you $5 or $10 data to cover the cost of you being able to go online and read and everything. And if I call you next week, make that what? Incremental investment in something so simple. And I call you and say, man, okay, I told you I'm going to call you later. I send you a WhatsApp message. Okay, man, don't forget tomorrow, 12 o'clock, be home, blah, blah, blah. We'll be going over the things. And I call you and say, well, Mr. Philly, I wasn't able to because they didn't. No. You that means you don't get it. You don't get it. Because in order for me to invest more capital into you in terms of finances, I've got to get you up to the level of thinking where I am. Because if you don't get there, then I'm just, I'm putting water into a bucket that has a bunch of holes.
Yeah.
And the water is not going to stay there. And I think this is where we Liberians in the Liberian community, I was listening to Closing Argument last night, certain sections of it, and they were talking about the justice system in Liberia, people buying land and this, that, and the other. But the fact of the matter is, you got to do due diligence. You must do due diligence. You're about to spend your money. You're about to invest your money. I mean, if you're going to spend $5 or $8 or $12,000 to buy land, then why can't you spend an extra 15 or 1800 bucks to get on the plane and go there yourself? I'm just, I'm just, I'm just asking the question. Maybe I'm the crazy one. Why can't you do it?
because
You're going to
because
entrust all of that into something that
because
you haven't done any due diligence on. I mean, I'm just trying to. Then what you want to do, you want to come back now and say the people are bad, they're wicked, they're cruel, they're evil. No, you're dumb. You made a bad. I mean, how can you expect doing something like that to be profitable and to pay you dividends and to turn out good? No, it's never going to. And you say you're a business person. So that, I mean, the first test is what? Build the proper relationships. Make the proper investment. Make the proper investment. Do your due diligence. You got Google. You know, I was talking to somebody the other day. Rufus and I were talking about a project. Somebody needed my help, and the person that has their property in their resort in Buchanan. So I said, okay, give me the name of the resort and tell me geographically where it is. I took my laptop, hooked it up to my big screen TV here with the USB with the HDMI cable. So I turned my big screen into a laptop. I mean, to my screen. And I went to Google and drove all the way to Buchanan and zoomed in. And I started sending him the pictures of the site, of the location, to look at the solar panels on the roof. He was like, wow, Mr. Phillips. I said, of course, it's already, I'm in Buchanan. You're in Morovia, but I'm already in Buchanan. I'm walking through the location. So I sent him the picture. I said, okay, which building is this? So he's in Morovia. I'm using Google, but we're already in Buchanan with the technology. Due diligence. So I said, okay, call the electrician. Let me ask him how he ran the cable. I'm in the US, but I'm looking physically at the place. So again, there are so many tools, relationships. We need to be able to leverage these things so we can be transformational in our economy as it relates to business, as it relates to relationships. Because again, as a business person, your relationships, they're some of your most valuable and priceless assets because they can open up doors. Go ahead, Ava.
No, it's Pitman. Pitman trying to come in.
Go ahead, Pitt. Go ahead,
I
Pitt.
was laughing a little bit, getting a chuckle over the land situation, and but let me tell you something though. When you we live
I'm
and we
just
learn
saying.
every day. So I'm taking it from a different angle though. The question that I'm
Go
begging is,
ahead.
why the person buying the land first? That's the first thing. What's the motivation to buy the land? To even
There you
ask
go.
before you even get to the point where you say you invested certain amount of money, and half of it is because everybody else doing it quick. And you understand that one reason, I'm not saying in that particular case, but let me extend this concept, the same concept I'm talking about. If you are going to bake an apple pie, for me now, I don't
Mm.
know how to bake apple pie. So what the first thing you think I'm going to do? I'm going to go find a recipe
Go
how to
find a
bake an apple
recipe. No
pie.
question.
Okay. If you want to be a businessman or woman, successful one, what are you going to do? Find a recipe to be a
That's
business
exactly
person
right.
that's going to be successful. We're going away from this. Everybody won't be business person. Everybody like bro working on project. If you notice that I work on my project, I work on my project, I work on my project. Right? So again, I'm not knocking anybody. I'm talking about just that we don't go after things with intent. We're not intentional about things. We're just playing around. So in playing around, guess
Copycat.
what? You are going to lose money. Again,
You're gonna
copycat, you're
get
right.
burned.
We are
You're gonna
playing
get
being
burned.
copycat. We are
You're
not
gonna get
intentional
burned.
about nothing. And I really again until we die, we got to keep learning and getting better. We can't say, well, I'm 50 years old, I'm 60 years old, so my learn. No, the moment you stop learning is the moment you begin dying in everything. So you got to keep learning. As I learned, there's a guy called Russell Cromwell that wrote a book called Acres of Diamond, and that's important. If you haven't read it, check it out. He talks about this man that owned this land that was diamond infested, but he sold the land to somebody else, took the money to go in search of diamonds,
Mm.
to buy other land or other areas because he wanted to go after fast diamonds. when he just could have just dig into the ground underneath
On the,
him. So
on the
when he
land that he
found out
owns.
that, when
Yeah.
he found out that his land was infested with diamond, he got frustrated and died. So it's
Yeah,
called
of
acres
course.
of diamond.
Of
And we
course.
see that every day. We see that every day in our community, in our line of work, in our interaction. When we start to look at people and we start to classify and qualify the beginning state and the end state. Who are we to do that? We can't do that. We start to look at things and we start to buy land because people say buy it. How you buy land? You don't know what the intent. What are you trying to do there? You just buying it for it to sit there. So you lose money. You look at people and you qualify them and you put them in this box. All right. There's a German philosopher called Goethe. He talks about look at the man the way he is. He only becomes worse. Look at him as if what he could be. Oh yes, and then he's gonna become what he should be.
Mhm.
But that's how these little things of these laws of life, I call them, when we start to miss them, Akina and Ava, that's when we start to lose things. We start to just kind of find our life with no purpose, no intent. We just go in circle and then we start waiting for 6 years for government to change every year again. We waiting for another regime. That's kind of where we find ourselves. You know,
Because we don't understand again that we are, the transformation you seek, be that transformation.
be that
That's
transformation.
it.
Yes.
The
Start in your own
transformation you
area.
seek.
Be that
Exactly right.
person. Let them laugh at you. Let them
You
call you.
be
I remember this. I can be humble useful. When I came to America, I was very young, right? And I can have a big brother. We used to play basketball on Saturday. I promise you, this man has been engaged with excellence way back. So we used to play when we go play basketball in the middle of practice. If that the news were on or something important, then brother would take his radio and leave us. My man would play the game. The man would leave us and go listen to what he thought was important at the
so what's
time.
happening.
So he had always been engaged at a very high level. Nonetheless, to say that, I saw him perform exceptionally well as a latter years of his school and everything. So you kind of can see it coming with people. I already met him when I think he was doing all his education piece. But I read his resume one day. I was like, damn, that's what I was. So I said, these guys are guys I need to have, because one of the things is no matter how high you ascend in your life, you have to respect the people that have been there before you. That level of humility is what take you to one level. You'll never find me like looking down on people and say, oh, no. I look at the guys that put in the work, and you always got to humble yourself and show them that respect for what they've done. Because, like Dr. King came, right? He didn't become the president. Obama did. But it was through his vision that
Yeah.
informed what
Mhm.
that took place with Obama. So we cannot disrespect that legacy. We cannot.
Yes,
We
yeah.
cannot disrespect. Like my father came ahead and he taught me some things. Academically, he didn't get to where I was.
Mhm.
Does that mean that the stuff he gave me was not valuable? No. In fact, it was those building blocks that propelled me
That's
to where I'm
exactly
at
right.
today. And then
There you
everyone else
go.
can attest to that.
That's
So when
exactly
you got
right.
your
Yeah.
big brothers, then they may not be Dr. So and so, they may not be Dr. So and so. But guess what? What they have to impart upon you, you need it to be able to sustain excellence in your life, in your work.
Yes.
And if you dismiss it, like how we do in our Liberian community, we dismiss a lot, then we
Mhm.
kind of stay at a standstill. And like you said,
Yep.
if money become our glory, then when the money is no more available, guess what? We fall and we look
We fall.
idiotic.
Yes.
So that's
Yes.
my
So,
Great
so
final
point.
take on.
just so people can know, we're supposed to get Dominic on, but like Dominic is saying to us, good morning from
Good
Japan.
morning
He's
from
in
Japan.
Japan, representing us on a trade mission, I believe. Dominic Nimle. Thank you for watching the show, even though you far away in the land of Japan. I don't know what Japan is best known for, but hopefully you experience that,
Cherry
experience
blossom.
their culture, and enjoy
Cars and
yourself.
automobiles and technologies. Automobile and technology. Yeah.
Well, I talk
So
about from way
I
back. They used
see.
to call Japan. They used to call Japan the land of something. I just can't remember what it was. But enjoy yourself, Dominic. I think did my daughter go to Japan? Because my daughter went to all these um Asian countries when she was at Brown University.
Mhm.
But yeah. So, but anyway, this has been a very wonderful show. I was expecting a young man, Mr. Lawrence Huff, to call in. He's gonna be our
Mhm.
field correspondent. He hasn't called in yet. We're hoping that we get Dominic. Hopefully, when Dominic comes back to Liberia, when he finds time, we can get him on the show. So this show is actually for the people. It's for the business people. It's for the people who support the business people. It's for those people who are out there doing things, want to share ideas, want to give some life experiences to people that they themselves can learn and extract some nuggets and be able to, use those things for the future for themselves. And my man, I'm not arguing that the people not good in technology and car, but before technology, the Japanese were on the map. They were known for certain things. I will try to find it. If
I
I
know,
just
I
put
know,
in
I know, I know. If you remember when we were young, back in the ELTV
the
days,
land of the rising sun,
the
that's what they used to
sun,
call
yes,
Japan.
yes, you showed the samurais, the samurai. Remember they had used to have a show on TV way back on Shogun. Called Shogun.
Yes,
Yes.
the Shogun.
Yeah. My father needs to make us to watch that show, to sit down before him on the ground and watch that show. He told us that it was something. Yeah. So, but again, I mean, let's talk a little bit about this correspondent that we'll be bringing on. We'll have a local correspondent that will be going to different places across Monrovia and other places in Liberia where Ava and myself will be making investment, and we'll be relaying his live footage and broadcast through Love FM and through the platform. We
Right.
believe that this will, move the show to a whole new level where we'll get more local
But
participation.
we
Go
can
ahead.
we can step back a little bit and give
Okay.
credit, and I want to make
Mhm.
sure I pronounce the individual name the right way. His name is, I believe, Judomu Cully. He's a agricultural journalist.
Mhm.
I shared a flyer in one of the chat rooms, and he, suggested to me. That's why when a lot of our people, when people suggest things to them, they take it like negative. No, the person, and even if somebody is criticizing you, criticism helps you to grow. It helps you to build because
It's
we don't have
perspective,
that
Ava. It's
360 view.
perspective. It's perspective. It's the man's
We don't have that
perspective. The man.
360 view of ourselves. So the thing another person can look at you and see, you don't see it. So when Choromu Cully reached out to me and said, I think it would be better if the show has an outside correspondent and somebody who can really talk to the people that are on the ground, that are in the business trenches, and be able to convey it sometimes real time or sometimes just record it and stuff. I embraced the idea. I brought it to Akino and them, and they welcome it as well. So he recommended this young man who has his own platform, I think Pro Media Live, named Lawrence Huff. And so I engaged Lawrence and we talked, and he understands this is just right now is basically a charity thing. We are volunteering, we are making efforts to start to impact the business community. Yes, in the future it could turn into something revenue generating, but at this point it's just pure contribution of our time, contribution of our intellect, and trying to get other people who can help this Liberian business community build and get to a certain level. So for him to volunteer, for Judomo first to share the information was on that excellent idea, and then for Mr. Huff, Lawrence Huff, to agree to work with us and to be a part of this. It just shows that not everybody in Liberia just greedy for money and we just put money in front. So we got to change our mind the way we think about people. Sometimes the approach is very important, and people can sense some things. If somebody sense you coming at them, I have to say they ain't worth anything. What you expect them to do? No, they will dismiss you too. It'll be a mutual thing.
Yeah.
So you got to embrace people in a positive way, make them feel good about themselves, and be able to build with them, work with them. And many of these people you don't have to see physically in person. You don't have to think everybody engaging you is trying to extract something from you, or you who engaging got to take something from that person right away, or the opportunity will never exist again. So thank you to Judomo, thank you to Mr. Lawrence Huff, and the people out there can expect him to reach out to them, to talk to them, to get some business insights. You visit some businesses, especially in some areas that we want to get a better understanding of, when it comes to liberalization, businesses that are in that area, those specific 16 areas, or, there could be the negative side, right? Where there's certain businesses that are set aside for Liberians up to 300,000. If
Mhm.
the investment is more than 300,000, then foreigners can invest. But there are Liberians who are fronting for foreigners to invest in those businesses when they don't have the 300,000 capitalization or investment to start those businesses. So we just hope that on this platform we'll be able to strengthen our business community. We'll be bring people who are like really ingrained in the business community, like Dominic Nimle, like Aries and Tenwa, and the president Struder, the president of Liberian Business Association. We got to reach out to the Liberian Chamber of Commerce, but we are getting our field. We got to reach out to the people at the Ministry of Commerce, the trade people, the industry
Mhm.
people,
Mhm.
and the small business people. Those three deputy ministers, they are very critical to the growth of business in Liberia. So
Yeah,
we reach to them to get them on here and to be a part of this. I wish the Deputy Minister for Small Business, Mr. Benedict Dolo, well, he had surgery, so he hasn't been able to come on. Hopefully, he's
Mhm.
recovering. And the other two ministers, hopefully very soon we're going to get them on the show. But this is important. We need
Yeah,
to have you people keep sharing and the link with other people so they can listen as well. We know the time, 9 o'clock on a Saturday or 10 o'clock on a Saturday for a lot of people will not be right. But for those who are early birds, for those who like Pittman said, willing to cut down that sleep hour
yep. Mhm.
and put some
It's a
work
good.
in
It's for a
very
good. It's for a good
intentionally,
purpose. It's
it
for
can
a good
happen.
purpose. It's for a good purpose.
Yeah.
And Alva, I really think getting Dominic. I mean, not Dom. Getting this.
Lawrence.
Getting Lawrence. Getting this reporter on is a very very critical thing for us to move to elevate the show. So it's not only us, the talking heads on the show on the platform, but I think the Liberians around the world who listen to this show we really want to know, they will want to see, they will want to kind of have an experience of what it is to be a small business person in Monrovia or a small business person in Duazon, a small business person in Red Light or wherever else we send this guy to go and talk to 3, 4, 5 persons, record it or whatever the case is. Ask them questions. What challenges are you facing? And then tie it back to the people at the Ministry of Commerce because we got to get the answers to this question. Why is it that small business being the engine of the American economy, as big as this economy is, and the federal government recognizes that, understands that, sees the results of that, and makes investment in that to drive the economy? You get my point, right, Pittman? But then you look at Liberia as well. What is the engine of the Liberian economy? It's also small business. So if the small business sector is the engine of the Liberian economy, I mean, in every county, and this engine that is driving the economy is made up massively with a population of young people, then why is it the government is not understanding this, seeing this to make an investment in the small business sector through the Ministry of Commerce to effectively position itself in all the county seats to what? To build a database and then provide the means, the investments, the
Did you
training.
just say database? Don't energize me, please.
No, 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 no. Because you got to know the who, the what, the when, the why, the how in every county.
Data is everything.
It's everything.
So
The
so
data tells a story. I'm coming, but the data tells a story. And the thing is, most Liberians always believe that the only thing that government can provide is money. But then they give you the money, you misuse the money because you never got the training and the knowledge and the competence to
Oh,
actually invest the money. So it's like putting the cart before the horse. It's like putting the cart before the horse. So I think, that is something we really, really got to get our hands around, our minds around. Let's hear it from the folks at the Ministry of Commerce. Why is this thing not being addressed, tackled, handled, focused on? Go ahead, Pittman. Go ahead. You can jump in.
and that's why I really started on when you guys beckoned me into the show about what I do, my role and everything. But as it relates to small businesses, right? I know we have the corporate side, the private sector side, but we have the government side, and that's the space that I work in. From an innovation standpoint, um, the Small Business Association have a relationship. They have an arm with the Air Force Research Laboratory, which have a
Mm-hmm.
subsidiary called the AFWorks. AFWorks is the Air Force's innovation arm. So what we do under in collaboration with the SBA is we have two efforts called one is called SIBR. You guys probably heard about it, Small Business Innovation Research, and then we have the SITR, which is the Small Business Technology Transfer. So and there's so much good in that, right? Not only with this funding with seed money, but this is a true a practical sense of innovation. And here's how this could work in our setting. Just take a small piece of it, a fraction of this concept, right? So during those, the saber process have three different phases, one, two, and three. So phase three is for the idea of the pay. You got an idea, and you just need some money to test it out, maybe 50,000. You I know it's kind of a lot of money for some people, but you bring 50,000 and you push the idea, and we go through a evaluation cycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you win it, we give you that. We match it. We put matching funds to it. The phase two is similar to up to $1 million, and phase three is a direct contract, right? All right, depending on your idea, your capability, whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is. So during those, then you also have something called the tax file, which means that I'm in the phase two. I'm developing my technology, but I need some more money. So you apply for that too. I get awarded. You move forward with your development. Let's think about it on a dual sense from Liberia, from a business standpoint, and let's just say $1,000. Let's say $1,000 United States. You run a challenge. And what that does is it brings the people, the young people minds together to say, hey, I'm running a challenge to fund somebody project for 1,000. I'm not using thousand, it could be five, 10,000, whatever. And bring your ideas on something, anything innovative, anything that would change the game, right? Now, once they bring think about what that does for our young people. It forces them to start becoming more innovative, to put their minds to some good things other than just wasting time on social media. Think about that
Yes.
piece.
Yes.
Then the other piece is whatever they develop, you could fund it. And now you could start moving forward. Maybe it could be something that the end user, the use case could be in the government or somewhere else. Not
Right.
everybody wins. And we create this ecosystem on a small scale because, when you start getting into government asking those questions, I start to think about what, the whole idea of asking the same, doing the same thing over and over and asking because
And
we're trying
expecting
to
different
answer a question
results.
for the people in government. We can't answer it because we're not in their mind. We kind of know what's there, but we can't keep waiting for them. So I guess we find some type of ways, maybe two or three people partner and do this little ecosystem of challenge and bring ideas from the young people and then do a little dance select
And
thing. And
that's exactly what the Liberia
You know,
Diaspora Equity Fund
you know,
really
yeah,
wants to do. And we're trying to reach out to some of the, you see, and that's the thing about partnership, right? There are some people doing some things on the ground, like I think iCampus, or like the
yeah,
guy I wanted to bring on earlier, William Reed. He has a business that does all this training and stuff for these different small businesses. So
yeah,
helping to bring that ecosystem together, work with them, and bring infuse hopefully diaspora funding into it and scaling up some of these businesses and stuff. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. So
yeah.
exactly what you're seeing. I just wanted to share the site so people can understand what you're doing in terms of the small business. And I'm just coming out of the air is something that actually exists. The Small Business Innovation Research, the SABRE, and the Small and Business Technology Transfer, the SITR. So
Yeah.
people can see it, what the overview is. These programs are highly competitive. That's the thing. They don't have to know payment for payment to get our job. And no
Oh,
small business coming in here, it's about the idea you bring to the table. The people don't have to know you. So, these are competitive things. Three phases to solicit proposal. Then they got a setup program that's a parallel to the SABRE. So, and what their mission is to support scientific excellence and technological innovation through the investment of federal research funds in a critical American priorities to build a strong national economy. That's the thing about how this place grow. They continuously invest into research, even though from what I'm hearing now, the Chinese are way ahead because of their own effort. Just
big,
the
big,
other
big.
day I read the
Mhm.
Chinese, from anybody from 6 years old, you start learning artificial intelligence, you start learning technology.
That's it. AI. Yep.
That's the kind
Yep.
of thing
Yep.
the people are using to build. But when do our young people see computers? When do they even start having an idea about computer, how to use it? And believe it or
Well,
not, you put a computer to a child in the bush and leave it with them, they will find a way to make it work because kids are just naturally smart at that. It has been tested. So we need to give our young people that opportunity. So the question you ask about understanding the minds of those in leadership and how they approach it, it's very, very important. I read the other day, the Ministry of Youth and Sport is starting the cadet program back. I think, which is wonderful. When I was the chairman for the ANC policy, we had a whole peace, hearts and minds,
mhm.
and the youth and women were the center of that heart and mind agenda. Is something that I hope any government can implement. It's about volunteerism. It's about empowerment. It's about building our economy, strengthening our people. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into these different things, and hopefully people can really bring them out. Right now, we've been talking about special economic zones in Liberia. We talk about the sub element of that is the special agricultural processing zone, and the National Investment Commission is leading that effort. They talking about integrating youths into the community, empowering them, training them, teaching them. We're not at the level we're supposed to be when it comes to international standards, right?
Yep.
They got different levels that they call the International Standards Organization, and they got a
Yep.
different
Yep.
number for each category, whether
Yep.
it's quality, whether it's management, whether it's food systems, all of those things. They're trying to bring that to our people. So hopefully they can be successful, because if they can do those things, it makes a big difference for us as a country, for us to grow and for us to come to the international standards level that the products we produce in Liberia can easily be exported, to other places in the world. So there's a lot for us to do, a lot for us to talk about. I'm just excited that these 2 hours have just come and gone, and
Yeah.
now we got to
But
move on to
Hold on.
something else. Go ahead.
yeah,
Can
yeah,
I add something?
yeah, go ahead, Pitt. Go ahead, Pitt. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So Ava, again, great discussion. Look, so the reason I'm really honing in on this piece, this topic we just talked about, right? A lot of the solutions to what we have in the problem, we talk about data center, we talk about the market overload, we talk about no part of John, part of bathroom. These are all small, innovative concepts that our young people can get solutions to, right? Instead of we sitting there and say, hey, the government gonna fix this. I see this all the time. You see some of the unique technological advances that come through somebody's idea, through somebody's simple idea, and it's so invaluable. I mean, it's changing the
And,
game for us.
and that idea comes from what? Thinking. You got
On
to think about
thinking,
the
right?
problem and find a
They sleep too
solution.
much,
That's
and
exact.
that's
Yes.
all. So we
Yep.
do that, right? And eventually, so another thing with that is this. So I work in innovation now, so we're trying to move forward from an innovation cell, just limiting the innovation to a whole capability development to start weaponizing
Exactly.
to moving weapon system and everything, right? So I'm not gonna wait for my two-star commander to tell me what he wants. I'm drafting out the plan on what we're gonna look like, and let him tell me no, or let's pivot in this direction, right? So you gotta preempt what it is that you want. So the reason I'm making this point is this: we can't sit back as a country and wait for the government. Because 6 years will kind of go again. We'll still be having the potholes, the oversaturation of dirty water, all the kind of things. So when we start these small endeavors, like you said, with the effort that you mentioned as Ava, you start looking at opportunities to start fixing or present a fully baked idea to these people, that the powers that be, and make them say no and hold their feet to the fire. Because we don't do anything and they don't do anything, nothing changes.
And,
So
and not to cut, because Ekino coming small, but
Mhm.
that's the strong point, right? When we present it to the people in power, they should be willing to embrace it. The idea doesn't have to come from you. You will get the credit if the idea is implemented.
yeah.
And look,
Only if the point you made, Abba, only if the person understands or his perspective is the big picture. Only if he gets the big picture. If he
Yes.
only looks, I mean, it's like trying, there's a thing called pixels, right? The pixels of a picture, right?
Yeah.
If the person is focused on a pixel, on a picture, on the wall, he will never get the big picture. And this is the problem. Our people are pixel minded. They're so focused on only them. that it has to be them. And they don't understand that you are the minister because you are the driver. You are the driver. Let the passengers be the ones to bring forth the ideas, and then you, the driver, get us to the destination. The passengers in the car don't drive the car. They pay you, the driver, to transport them to the destination because they've got work to do. And that's, again, that's the big picture. You talked about the enterprise zones, or the economic zones. How will those economic zones be built? How will they be energized by electricity to add value to the agricultural products or anything else? And then the young people who are being trained industrially, how will they get jobs without electricity that will power up the industrial trade zones to manufacture products? Again, it's the big picture. If the big picture is not conceived, is not truly understood by the driver who's supposed to be driving, then we're going to end up in the wilderness where we find ourselves just driving around and burning up time. This thing is all about the big picture. We've got to get the big picture. Think like you said from the beginning of the program, we got to be holistic about this small incubator, right? I mean, $500 is a lot of money for small business in Liberia. I think probably I would just prophesy here and speak it up. Maybe sometime in maybe May or August or before July 26th, Business Talk will have maybe a $1,000 shared in two parts, 500, 500 for two business proposals that will win. And what we will do, we'll have maybe 30 minutes on the show, almost like Shark Tank, right? Ava, let's do something like Shark Tank, where Liberia will create an email where everybody will send in their business proposals, and we give you 10 minutes to come on the show. Go to the Love FM studios, and you come on the show. You pitch your proposal. You pitch your proposal, and if your proposal is the best one, we'll have people will listen, and then people will vote. People will vote on your proposal. They will ask you questions about it, and then and then we'll put you in a category, and then we continue. We'll move it forward over X amount of weeks, and X amount of weeks, X amount of months until we get the two winners. So that is something I think we can do. We can promote because we are the business talk show, and I think that would draw listeners to our show and for participation. And then we'll also have our local correspondent to do the due diligence, to meet with those people, go and see their businesses. They would be applying for the prize, the $500. 500. Okay, we can take $1,500, cut it into three pieces or cut it into four pieces, and three pieces, $400 each, for 1,200 or 1,600 bucks, four pieces. And because $400 is a lot of money for a small Liberian business. And then let our correspondent visit the applicants and interview them, see their business, and let them come on the show and talk about their business, why they should be the winner of that prize, and what kind of experience they have. And let's ask them all the right questions. And I think that is something that we can do, which will be like Pittman said, we will have the groundswell of the small business community, so we can truly be the transformers, right? We're not just talking heads on a Saturday morning, but we're also actively engaging and doing our part to be transformative people and see how that business goes, how that investment goes over every month and every 2 months and over 3 months, to see how that business goes.
So,
That's
Pitman, we about to
sure.
close. You want to come in and share with us any closure statements, any parting words?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take the shot at it. First of all, again, always thanks when you give your time. You're giving your life. So you guys have been giving your time every Saturday morning. So you're giving a significant part of your life to our people. I want to applaud that. Today, I just want to talk about the element of consistency and how important that is in our endeavors. I think we are in an environment where we are distracted by social media, and I mean, it's a good thing to have social media, but we look at things on social media and we ignore the process. Everything has a process, so we don't subscribe to the element of consistency as we pursue excellence. So I want to encourage people to consider consistency in your habits. Okay, there's a story I will tell you real quick. The Chinese bamboo tree. You plant the seed and you got to water it for 5 years. So it's the story is told. And after 5 years, it breaks the ground and it jumps 90 feet in 6 weeks. So some may ask, did it take 6 weeks to grow 90 feet, or there's the 5 years of consistent watering? It's called the story of the Chinese bamboo tree. If you check it out, you'll see it. So it's a concept like that. Those are all practical knowledge for us to conceptualize in our lives. So consistency is key. Don't try to engage in something and quit early. The first obstacle, because in fact, when we talk about innovation, sometimes not sometimes, 1 out of every 10 innovation makes it. Some of them fail, but you're not failing. You're actually learning. So employ consistency, and you will find out the results will be profound. Thank you all for having me.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, no?
Well, again, once again, I just want to say thanks to Dr. Pitt. Pitt, thank you so much for joining the show today to bring up that key topic: consistency, resilience, persistence, and purpose. Being purposeful in business as an entrepreneur, business person. Thank you to all of the those who watch the show on by way of Facebook, and also those who listen to the show on Love TV Live in Liberia through Love FM in Syncor. Thank you so much. You're always loved and appreciated for tuning in every Saturday. To all of those who use this program as a classroom to help you to improve on your business skills, improving knowledge and understanding, to help you to refine your business, to improve your business, and to grow your business, and to be more profitable in your business. Again, this is time that we're investing into nurturing you, to mentoring you, to empowering you to grow and to excel and to expand. Ava, thank you so much for participating and being consistent again with what we do. And to Rufus Devon Connor, he had an emergency, but we're still broadcasting live. He did everything possible to make sure that the program was on the air while he was out. Thank you to Rufus for so much for being a person who is always consistent with us, and he also serves as an eye and ear on the ground. And to our upcoming local correspondent, Lawrence, is it right? Is Lawrence? Am I correct?
Lawrence.
Yeah,
Lawrence Hall.
Lawrence, welcome to the team. I personally look forward to working with you, supporting you, making sure that you succeed. And let's grow the network. Let's grow it. And we look to good reporting from you, going deep and wide in Liberian business, the who, the what, the when, the why, the how. What's not happening in our community, and why can't we? What is it? When we start hearing directly from Liberian businesses, the challenges that they're having. So thank you for a great show, and I look forward to seeing everyone back here, same time, same station next week, Saturday. Have a great weekend. Be safe out there. Be careful out there. And again, communicate, focus on building your bridges. And like Dr. Pitt McKenna said, persistence, being intentional, be purposeful, and stick with it, because business is all about nurturing and growing. Okay. Have a great weekend, folks. I'm out.
Thank you. Wonderful. I just um, want to say thank you to Pittman for coming on short notice. Um, there's some other stuff going on for me tonight. I'm supposed to be coming on our program. My man Dwalu, Ansu Dwalu, will be on 7:30 p.m. He'll be coming on live to discuss more about the Liberian Diaspora Equity Fund. But the Liberian community is having their I think it's inauguration. Yes, the inaugural ball for the Liberian community, and I will be there tonight. Is I don't even it's the All Saints Hall in Hyattsville. So let me just share the page for those who may be in the area and may want to attend.
I think you're
Um,
invited.
but man, that last minute time, to be honest with you, my apology. It could have been something where you could have come to town, but I was really, really not. on the ball with this. I did have to buy my ticket last minute of time. So it is at the All Saints Hall. That's 4849 Lydell Road. The incoming president is Mr. Tikla, Sebastian Tikla. He's a new president. We hope he brings vision to our community. There's a lot of things that could be done better. For years, we participated in the community, supported different leadership. At one time, I led elections commission, all that kind of stuff. Again, another thing, be involved in your community, be a part of the community, and support the people in the community is a wonderful thing to do. So, thank you for participating, Akina, as usual. Thank you for coming on the show. You are the rock of the show. Keep being that way, and we will keep contributing and doing ours. And to the people out there, there's a lot you can offer this show. A lot of Liberians have been successful business people. A lot of Liberians have been in corporate America, understand business, and they can really help and provide insight to this show. So we'll continue to invite people and continue to build this show, and hopefully people can have successful ventures in business because of what we tell them and how we present information to them and how they apply that information. So again, thank you to all of those who watch, who comment, participate, take the time out, and eventually watch the show again because the show is on recorded, it's on YouTube, it's on Facebook, and other people do come to watch, especially those who don't wake up early on Saturday morning. Folks, have a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend. Bye bye.
We got to talk about Rwanda if you come here.
Yes, definitely. I will call
All
you.
right. All right. Thank you, brother. Thanks.
Bye bye.